They say it's CAF's second primary competition, but there's nothing second about the talent on display. In the Confederation Cup, there was so much drama. We saw Zamalek held. We saw Al Masry win a thriller. We saw so much in this Confed Cup. SC, which game stood out to you?
Look, most of the games stood out for me. You have to look at the Wydad game. You have to look at Wydad versus Nairobi United, Zamalek versus Zesco, USM versus San Pedro. There were so many games. Also the Kaizer Chiefs versus Al Masry game, it was an interesting game. But for me, the Wydad game has to be a game that at the top of the conversation one looks at, because this is a team that I've set out and I said, these are the dark horses. I say dark horses and somebody at home would think, why is he calling Wydad a dark horse? Because
yes, they've been here, we know that.
They've been absent, to be quite honest, for quite some time, and they are coming back and putting up their feet to say, you know what, we are here to claim our prizes, and so far they've done that. If you look at the game they played against Nairobi United, it was quite interesting, and you look at the lead up in terms of the teams they faced when they came up here in the preliminary rounds. At some point we spoke about them playing in Asante Kotoko, one of the former powerhouses. So when you look at this game, you need to look at players such as Nuruddin Amrabat, a very experienced player, you know, in that team, brings a lot of experience into the team captain as well. You have to look at Steven Aziski. There's a conversation in South Africa right now. For me, it's one of those top conversations that are coming up with the preliminary squad that came out. Thembinkosi Lodge, a question mark around him. But looking at the game, I think Wydad literally came into this game with everything guns blazing. They dominated play. They literally made sure that Nairobi were not here to contest. You have to look at how they did it. Again, we're going to speak about the
But Nairobi United, nobody expected them to be here, in all fairness to them. What do you think? What are the positives they can take out of that game?
Look, for the fact that they find themselves in this position, you look at how they went about into the preliminary rounds, beating powerhouses to get here, you know. So for me, I look at that and I'm like, this is a team that's well structured, and in terms of the things that they need to fix, such as their defensive lines. They've got a poor defensive line. If you look at it, especially on the wing back situations,
yes.
They've conceded from that position when they played Wydad. I mean, Thembinkosi Lodge exploited those positions. Aziski as well as Nuruddin Amrabat. I mentioned Nuruddin Amrabat quite a few times because the position that he's playing at Wydad is not a position that we normally used to see him in. And for me, I like the fact that he's playing in that position. There's something interesting that's going to happen when Hakim Ziyech gets his form back.
Yes.
You know, it's going to put question marks around Nuruddin. Are they going to push him back into the center, or are they going to leave him out on the wingers? What are they going to do with Hakimi? So for me, I look at that and I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see how the coach goes on forward. You asked me a question about Nairobi. Nairobi is a team that is well rigid in terms of what they want to do in the central park of the game. Yes. They've got a quite solid midfield, and I think going forward they need to fix the next line in terms of what they want to do when they get to the final third, because they're not clinical enough. And in this competition, you need to be very clinical when you get to the final third of your opponents.
Yes, I mean, a low block would make sense for them, given the fact that they're debutants in this competition.
You can play a low block, but you need to know how to transition. And in this game,
yes,
they didn't use their transitions very well. I mean, if you look at how the ball position stats are looking at, look, 72% to Wydad, that tells you that these guys were literally sitting back. And you need to be clever in terms of how you pick your moments. And they were not clever in terms of doing that. They got two opportunities that they could have used very well, but they didn't use those opportunities. And Wydad knows how to exploit those situations. And I'm going to reiterate again and say, you know what, use your transitions, because you're going to come up against teams that know how to box very well.
SC, any unexpected results for you?
Not entirely. You know, you have to look at the game. Azam losing to Maniema, that was quite an interesting game. I don't think a lot of us looked at that game and thought Azam would actually lose that game. But for me, I think in the back of my mind, I knew that Maniema could cause an upset here, because it's a team that has been knocking into the CAF Confederations competition quite for a few times, and they did that literally for me. So quite an interesting game as well in terms of what they did, in terms of application, in terms of the final third, in terms of completing the goals that they wanted to score, how they wanted to go about the game in terms of infiltrating the midfield and breaking it down diagonally. They did that so very well.
SC, I noticed something strange on today's show. For someone so patriotic, you haven't said anything about the South African teams.
Yeah.
But I have a player from South Africa in my diamonds. He plays for Stellenbosch FC. Let's see where he ends up on today's list. Coming in at number 3 today on my diamonds is Mohamed Abdel Rahman. Now, the Sudanese centre forward who plies his trade with Al Hilal and the Sudan national team makes number 3 today because of his impact off the bench, which was crowned in the 75th minute. The former Al-Merrikh hitman struck the winning goal in Al Hilal's 2-1 victory over MC Alger. Coming in at number 2 this week is Ashley Cupido of Stellenbosch FC. Stellies got off to a flying start in the CAF Confederation Cup Group C with a crucial 1-0 victory over their Congolese rivals at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. The hero of the day was Ashley Cupido, who scored a stoppage time winner that broke hearts in Congo. At number 1 this week is guess who? Ahmed Atif of Pyramids FC, who lit up match day 1. His 3 goals not only delivered a perfect start for the defending champions, but also reaffirmed his rising profile on the continent. His movement between the centre-backs and the precision of his goals highlighted his pedigree as a penalty box striker. SC, have I left anyone out? Would you like to add anyone to this list?
Look, off camera, I was telling you that I couldn't wait for this segment, and I'm glad we're here now. We're going to push out 2 of your players. Okay. I say that because there's so many players that did so well. You have to look at players such as Kiri Magusha. What a player. You have to look at Trezeguet in the Al Ahly team. Did so well. Thembinkosi Lorch. Yes. Question marks around him, and the conversation has been going on in South Africa in terms of why is he not in the squad, the preliminary squad that came out. So when you look at these players, for me, I think these are players that are influential in terms of what they want to do. Look at Trezeguet scoring 2 goals in this game that they played, Thembinkosi Lorch with an assist, and also being influential in terms of with play and inverting. Kiri Magusha, we were speaking earlier on about him. He was so influential in this match. So for you not to have these guys, I think 2 of your diamonds need to be pushed out, and you need to include either Thembinkosi Lorch or Trezeguet in this conversation, or Kiri Magusha into the conversation. We're
going to throw it out to the viewers at home. What do you think? Has Adelani given us perfect diamonds this week? Or those names SC has mentioned should be included in this list? Make sure you engage with us on all our social media platforms, and also make sure you look at Game On, because they're going to be talking about the South African teams in the inter-club competitions, the CAF inter-club competitions, that is. On that note, we're going to go on a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be building up to that big showpiece on the continent, Afcon 2025. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.